Okay, we are ready. Sorry for the delay. So we have a last CE presentation for the morning, and then we will have a break and start again at 2. And I'm very happy to present our next student who is finishing her graduate degree with us this year, but she also was part of the undergrad. And if I remember well, I think Milena entered around 2017. And so Milena has been around the family for a while, and now we are all very proud to see her completing her journey with the Global Jazz and Berklee. We'd like to read a couple of notes about her. Milena Casado is a composer, trumpeter, and flugelhorn player from Spain. Milena has performed alongside artists such as Terry Lynn Carrington, Chris Davis, Jorge Rossi, and Francisco Mela, and such renowned event at the Monterey Jazz Festival, Toronto Jazz Festival, and Marseille Jazz Festival. As part of our panel, we are very happy to welcome our advisor Farai Malek and Asia Burrell from the Gender Jazz Study. Please welcome Milena Casado.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Marco, for the beautiful introduction. Today, I am going to present my culminating experience project, Reflection of Another Self, Understanding, Accepting, and Overcoming Trauma. Acechada por el miedo, por la vergüenza, escondida en el más recóndito lugar de mi ser. Pido ayuda en silencio. Duele, duele. Y si no soy suficientemente, y si no soy demasiado, y si no valgo nada, ella, tú, él, ella, ellas, ellos, vosotros me valoráis, me dais la mano, me ayudáis y sufrís las consecuencias de una furia desconocida, una furia que ni siquiera yo puedo entender. Os alejo, huyo. No es hasta en aquel momento en el que el miedo por lo que ya has perdido y por lo que puedes perder te acorrala. Cuando te das cuenta de que tú eres esa maravillosa persona que se va a comer el mundo, que va a ser feliz, que se va a caer y a levantarse, que va a reír, que va a soñar. This is a poem I wrote in 2020 in witnessing racism, sexism, inequality, and a global pandemic. I found myself turning inward, trying to set aside the fears and insecurities these forces often cause. This period of isolation and changes really helped me to go through a process of introspection and to realize that I couldn't keep hiding, that I needed to confront my fears in order to find myself and free myself. That is why during this year, I've been working on a suite that combines music and poetry and that portrays my process accepting, understanding, and overcoming trauma. This suite is divided in 3 movements or steps. The first one is acceptance, to accept an existent trauma. The second movement is understanding, to understand why that trauma happened. And the third movement or step is overcoming, to learn how to manage that trauma. First, I wanted to start reading this description by Pierre Janet, one of the fathers of psychology. Trauma is the result of exposure to a stressful event that overwhelms a person's coping mechanisms. When people feel too overwhelmed by their emotions, memories cannot be transformed into neutral narrative experiences. The terror becomes a memory phobia that prevents the integration, synthesis, of the traumatic event and fragments the traumatic memories away from ordinary consciousness, leaving them organized into visual perceptions, somatic concerns, and behavioral reenactments. I also attached a picture where we can see some of the symptoms of trauma, some of which I have experienced myself, as loss of sense of who I am, anger, shame, feeling worthless, anxiety, or panic attacks. The first movement, acceptance, describes the process of introspection to acknowledge an existing trauma. It is composed of two pieces, Inner Voice and Ode to the Crazy Times. It portrays feelings of fear, chaos, rage, and discomfort.
Introspection. Unexpected encounter. Your illusion and my pressure. Loss of direction. It tries to guide you, to control you. It tries to guide you, to control you. An art robot. Opinions, 1,000 reasons to flee, to succumb, overwhelmed by adversity, overwhelmed by adversity, overwhelmed by adversity, overwhelmed by adversity, anxiety. Hey. What is that thing they called happiness?
The second composition of this first movement is Ode to the Crazy Times. It's a metaphor of the crazy times we are living in. I use repeated fast and short rhythms to create tension and discomfort, and I try to represent the shortness of breath and copious amount of negative thoughts that you have when you're like having a panic attack. Now we will move on to the second movement, understanding. It analyzes the roots and meaning of the trauma. Why was it caused? It is composed of two pieces, reflection of another self and migration, and it poses a difficult task to question oneself. which can produce feelings of anger, sadness, and confusion. For this composition, Reflection of Another Self, I try to represent a conversation between myself and my other self referring to the self that is influenced by stereotypes and all those lies implicit in society that tell you how you should be, how you should behave, how you should look, how you should think. I also try to represent growing up in a secluded village in Spain where everybody else looked so different than me, referring to skin or my hair, and also some memories of bullying experiences caused by racism, just because my body, my skin, or my hair was different. The musical motifs for the melody and bassline are originated from the syllables of the poem, and the main idea is, who am I?
But is that really me? Or is that you? Who am wandering walker? I felt out of place. My body, my skin, my hair confused, trying to go unnoticed, hiding. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Why do you laugh at me? Why do you laugh at me? Why do you laugh at me? Why do you laugh at me?
The second piece of the second movement is called Migration, and it's a transition between understanding and overcoming a trauma. I wanted to reflect and represent my decision to travel to Dominican Republic to meet my father for the first time in 2018. Feelings of honesty, compassion, and forgiveness. And now moving to the third and last movement, overcoming. It represents how to manage trauma. Because in my opinion, you cannot get rid of a trauma, but you can learn how to live with it. You can learn how to manage it. And this movement is composed of two pieces, Maya Angelou Said and Tharros, and it portrays feelings of purpose, willpower, freedom, and self-confidence.
People have to develop courage. It is most important of all the virtues, because without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. You can be anything erratically and in front of the microphone, in front of the camera. But to be that thing in your heart, you have to have courage. You have to have courage. And so I'm afraid that we are lacking in courage. We think we are afraid. And fear, I'm sorry to say, motivates most of the cruelties in our life. And so I'm afraid that we are lacking in courage. We think we are afraid. And fear, I'm sorry to say, motivates most of the cruelties in our life. The truth is, no one of us can be free until everybody's free. The truth is, no one of us can be free until everybody's free. And every one of us needs to say to our children, children, this is your world. Come out, stand out, earn it.
And the last piece of this third movement is Tharros. Tharros means courage in Greek. I try to represent the idea of breaking barriers and also connected to my relationship with philosophy and mythology, since I feel it's a really important part in my identity and my way of thinking. This composition is an improvisation on the piano. I wanted to portray courage, no fear, and acceptance. So I challenged myself to improvise a composition and decide that I will not do any edits. You know, whatever will come out of it, it will be final. And I wanted to dedicate this piece especially to my mother, Lydia, and my grandmother, Alegria, for all their courage and for all the support and inspiration during all my life. Also, as I was reading all this music and thinking about this project, I had the privilege of interviewing, talking, and getting to know some of the most amazing people I know, and I'm lucky to call them mentors. Is Terlin Carrington, Esperanza Spalding, as well as Nedelka Prescott. Also, the picture that you can see here is a picture of me, myself, 2013, I think. I went to Marciac in France to see a concert by Jerry Allen Trio. This is Jerry Allen with, ACA Trio with Jerry Allen, Esperanza Spalding, and Terlin Carrington. And I remember this exact moment when I saw them on stage, and I say, I want to be like them. Like, I can do it. I want to be like them. And just like getting to know them and call them mentors, it just feels like a full circle. So I'm going to play a little excerpt of the interviews.
Self-acceptance is like one of the most courageous things that we can ever do in our life, is to like accept and love who we are, despite what society is telling us.
You have the potential to really do whatever you want. And I think that's exciting, like when there's nothing stopping you.
Mm.
You have to almost be a warrior, because when you're a warrior, you're fearless.
Mm-hmm.
You have the courage.
All of us, all humans who live amongst others, which is all humans, finding the courage, the confidence, the clarity to step out exactly as who they are,
mm-hmm.
in their naturalness,
mm-hmm.
and still find that balance of being able to thrive with others. I really trust the composition of our existences, like the design.
Yeah, the design. Really powerful words by them. And also, as many mentors told me, you need to heal yourself in order to heal others. So for me, this project was a way of therapy, of just like confronting my fears, dealing with my trauma. And I feel I'm still at the beginning of it, but at least I took the decision to accept it and do it. And as for the future, I'm planning to record and release this suite as a musical libretto, including poems, essays, and lead sheets. As you saw, this music was recorded live, in a performance live, so I would like to take it to the studio. And also to do different performances with talks to address the topics discussed in this presentation. I also attached a picture of the Hero's Journey chart that my amazing panelist, Aisha, told me about. And I feel it really represents what I'm going through right now, just like trying to find myself. And, well, thank you, everybody, for being here. First of all, I want to thank all these people in this list: Terlin Carrington, Chris Davis, Esperanza Spalding, Nedelka Prescott, also the musicians, Morgan Gehring, Kweku Tsumri, Nick Dunston, Nadia Washington, Gerson Lasso for the mixing. Thank you to my amazing advisor, Farai. Thank you, Aisha. Thank you, Danilo, and thank you, Marco. Thank you, Dan, for helping me translating all my poems from Spanish. Thank you, Nicolas Payton, for all the knowledge you've shared with me during this year. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tamar, as well, Jara Martinez, the psychologist, and thank you especially to my family and to all my friends.
What a beautiful presentation, Milena. Thank you. And we're going to move to the second part of it and ask questions from the panel. And we usually start with the committee members. So the fabulous Asia Burrell is going to have the pleasure to start.
Awesome. I actually have a comment and then a question. I am finding it immensely fascinating and I think incredible that how the way that you're so clearly inspired by literary arts and some very powerful, obviously, literary artists. And I think there is so much more there for you to keep going. This is really interesting. But like, it's the literary arts, you know, outside of music and your personal journey and story. The literary arts were coming through so deeply and profoundly, and I think there's a lot to consider artistically and intellectually in that. My question to you is circling back to your experiences and considerations, you know, with self and racism and sexism, and I really appreciated you talking about self and other self. It actually kind of reminds me of W.E.B. Du Bois's idea and theory on double consciousness, and you included hair, and you also, you know, it was emphasized in your presentation. Can you unpack that a little bit more about hair specifically?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Well, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start by telling you a story that happened to me yesterday, actually. I was trying to get my passport pictures yesterday, but my hair couldn't fit the picture. So, well, I couldn't send my OPT application. I went to 3 different places to take a picture, but my hair couldn't fit the picture. So what can I do? Should I just cut it off? Should I just like put something on it? Even at CVS, like this lady just told me like, why don't you just like, you know, use like, in other like cultures, they use like something to put over your hair. Why don't you just put that so you don't have your hair? And you know, I was like getting really emotional because like this reminded me when I was 10 years old and I went to, in Spain, I went to take a passport picture and the lady told me like, whoa, like we cannot take a picture of you with that hair. That's not gonna be acceptable for the picture. And I remember just like myself just like crying with 10 years old, someone just telling me that. And my mom really angry, just like confronting the lady. And I still get emotional about it because, I don't know, it's just like, what's wrong with my hair? Like, what is wrong with my hair? I don't know, there's so much racism implicit in this society, in the way everything works. And I have a lot of trauma with it, you know. And people ask me, like, why are you wearing this? I wear it because, like, I feel more comfortable. Because, like, people gonna, like, look at me or, like, tell me things. Can I touch your hair? Oh, your hair, you know. Just things like that, you know, made me really emotional. Because, like, when you're a kid and you're surrounded by people that don't understand anything about your hair, you just, like, feel so small. And, you know, I'm just, like, tired of having to hide, of having to just, like, try to change, to accommodate what the society is asking from me. Because that's not me, and I want to be me.
Thank you, Milena. I just want to say thank you for your power and your vulnerability in that moment. And I'd also like to say I love your hair and all of the ancestry and all of the culture and your lineage in your hair and also all of you in it. Thank you.
Thank you, Asia.
Thank you, Asia. Subscribe to that comment and your advisor for Milena.
Milena, I'm so proud of you. This project is stunning. The music is stunning. I'm here just choking up because I've been there. You know, we come from kind of similar stories and backgrounds, and it has just been such a privilege to be on this journey with you through this project. And I think that this project is really going to inspire a lot of other young women like us, and women in general. But I just think that you really need to play this music and put this project out there as much as you can, because it's really very powerful. I want to note and just thank you for your courage in kind of diving into trauma, because that's really what this project is. And it's incredibly courageous. And I want to know, through the pandemic and through this process of writing this music and writing this poetry, and through your interviews and your conversations with me as well, how do you feel like your relationship with yourself has changed through this project, and your relationship with your trauma as well?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's been a time of introspection, as I said before, and I feel like this last year, or this couple of years, and especially this last year, has really helped me to start to accept myself. I could say I'm in the step 2, just trying to understand, why all these traumas happen, so that I can overcome them, or better say learn how to manage them. But I felt that this year with pandemic and all the racism and sexism that is being happening, it really helped me to, it made me angry. It made me so angry. I'm so angry. And this actually makes me say, stop this. We cannot keep doing this. I just want to be happy. I want to be happy. And I cannot let stereotypes and people stop me from that. That's on me,
Thank you. Thank you. I had one more question. Why did you choose to use the Greek word for courage in your piece?
Well, I use tharos. First of all, tharos is actually my tattoo. It means courage in Greek, and I wanted to have it with me to never, never forget to have courage. Courage is a word that I've been hearing a lot during the last couple of years from my mom, from Terlene, from all kind of mentors and people. And I wanted to portray it somehow. And I felt that Greek philosophy, and Greek mythology really, really helped me to think differently about things, to question things. And I felt it was really important to portray it in my presentation. So I decided to call it Tharos. Also, to get a little bit more deep into it, when I was a kid, my mom used to read me all kind of mythology as a bedtime story before I was going to sleep. And I just loved it. And it's been part of my identity since I was 6 years old. And there is so much knowledge on it. And it really makes me think about courage. And to cite one specific work, I want to recommend everybody to read a poem by the poet Kabafi called Ithaca, that talks about the journey of life and all the courage that we have to have in our life.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Fry.
Wow, Milena, you so much embody everything you just presented to us, and I feel like there's such a power that has touched this room in the last 20 minutes through everything you presented, and the way you created this music is so powerful. And since we talk a lot about the intention, and it's so clear what you're saying, what you're saying, in a very clear way. First of all, your band I think is a beautiful group of musicians. What a fantastic band. And I really hope you can go in a studio and record this, although this already sounds really, really strong. I guess I wanted to shift a little bit the conversation on the music, and the question I'm trying to form in my head is like, since you had such a specific focus with this project, did the focus change the way you compose and think about music? Can you talk a little bit about that, the process and your intention as a composer to portray everything you did and everything you're talking about?
Yeah, for sure. Well, it was a really deep and amazing experience just to write all this music, not just the music, but the poetry as well, because sometimes I felt that I needed those words to express what I wanted to say. And one thing that really, really amazed me is the way I approached it, because I didn't want to write music just like to write a melody or something like that, but I wanted to portray a feeling that was really hard for me, like portraying a panic attack or portraying introspection, fear, discomfort, anger, lack of self-confidence. It was really hard for me just to the fight of like remember how I felt. Specifically, the composition Reflection of Another Self. For me, composing that song was really hard because I had to remember how I felt when I was being bullied, when I was like on the bus and this guy would just take pictures of my hair every day. So like remembering all that and just trying to put it into the music, it was so emotional and it was so amazing how like music just served me as a therapy. You know, I needed to write it, I needed to let it out, I needed to say it out loud, and that's what I did. And I think it's been like composing wise, like the best thing like I could have done, and the best feelings I got out of it.
And it comes through, it really does. And that's why I specifically asked that question. I have another question. I also truly loved your initial poem, which I think I heard in a forum already. And can you talk a little bit about that? Because are you doing poetry as well, or this was just a moment?
Well, I don't know if call it poetry, but most of these texts that we read, those are like excerpts of my diary. I usually write just like feelings when I'm happy, when I'm sad, just write what I feel. And a lot of these compositions also came from the poems themselves. And yeah, I've been writing for my whole life and just like portray my feelings, letting them out. I never shared them before until this music. So I feel this is just doing this presentation is also part of the third movement, overcoming.
Well, I think that's something that then, if you discover it through this project, it, to me works beautifully. I hope you can continue including, this combination of words and music the way you did. And finally, and I just want to say too, over the year I also saw a part of you, especially with young children, and that Milena is a Milena that is also a powerful Milena where there's a lot of joy and creativity, a lot of sharing, and I feel like you will be able to help many people. So congratulations.
Thank you, Marco.
Congratulations, Milena. Wow. One of the most beautiful things I have experienced in everything you put in this presentation has so much care. From the way you didn't use Sibelius or use Finale, you handwriting, I love it. That's just there's so much art in everything, and I agree with Asia about the literary art direction to explore, to continue and actually find places where you can explore this. There are galleries, there's a lot of opportunities where you can present this. Regarding your hair, I love that story, and it reminds us in the cave of fear, the world that we live in on, and according to the values of whitenism, the white people, because in Africa, the hair symbolizes one's family background. It symbolizes social status, symbolizes power, it symbolizes other things. And bring that to the table all the time. Remember, that's where you come from. We all from Africa. And the last advice I gotta give you, things might not come in the time in when you want with this project, but they're gonna come right in time for your life. Thank you.
Thank you, Danilo.
Congratulations, Milena.